Plants, animals, and the sorts, we love them, hate them, but I absolute adore them. So what? I fui to see Dedo. Combine the twa well, we don't have to think about that because there's a game that already did that for us. And that game is Creatures of Sonaria on Roblox. Now, before you start to groan, we're here to talk about the science of one specific type of species or creature type in the game, which are photocarnivores and photovorsic, are fictional obviously, but their nature and biology are fascinating, so it's time to one, find out what they are. Point 2, could they be real? 3, how would they fit into an ecosystem? Point 4, how would they taste? So with our questions in order, let's begin. Starting off with, what are they? Well, photocarnivores and photovores are a special kind of creature in costs only, requiring meat for photocarnivores and water for the herbivores. They also have, in a lot of cases, characteristics of plants. They also, upon death, leave corpses that both herbivores and carnivores can consume. On top of that, they become weaker and hungrier during the night, which are something we will focus on in a later section. Speaking of which, let's move on to that next section. On to number 2, could they be real? And unfortunately, the answer is no. As the closest thing we have to them being carnivorous plants don't have muscles, but instead a hydraulic system that is activated by sensors or trigger hairs. And all of the photo creatures don't have that. But hypothetically, it could be possible, just in a much smaller scale, as there are trees that are capable of just moving, that being the Socratia exorchiza, which is a palm tree that has some pretty interesting roots. 3, how would they work in an ecosystem? Well, honestly, this is a pretty simple answer, as we have the creature descriptions. Even though they're not canon to the game's own story, for the purposes of this, they're as good as a corpse flower. As in a ton of the creature descriptions, it shows that a lot of these guys would just act as normal predators and prey. Example, the lovely little hopping cactus ... thanks to its description. We know it would be living in a desert and probably be prey to not intended birds of prey. But not only that, we also, thanks to science, know that plants are a lot more sentient than it seems. Point is, while it's technically impossible for these creatures to exist, as they would still need water and meat, so unfortunately, there's no chance for them to be real. But what is real is the next section. 4, what would they taste like? Well, I think they would taste similar to meats we know like chicken, which is pretty neat, but what's also pretty neat is number 4, how would they taste? Personally, I believe they would probably be quite similar to either for some whatever they've eaten, or chicken or pork, similar to funguses that taste similar to those meats. So in conclusion, while these mystical creatures wouldn't be possible, or even really feasible to be real, the characteristics already exist in many carnivorous plants, and parasitic ones like the cordyceps fungus. So while it is sad or maybe a good thing that they don't exist, you can always see for yourself how they operate and act within Creatures of Sonaria. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you and goodbye. On top of that, thanks to the fact that they're technically plants, they would probably work as excellent compost for an ecosystem and for us people.